Welcome to the Dawg Pound.
Welcome to the Dawg Pound. Today we have the Forsyth Central Theater with us. Whitley, why don't you introduce the members here today?
Hey, good morning, guys. Today we have with us Mr. Christian Rapay, we have Bridget Upchurch, and Miss Kristen Jones. And we're talking about various things dealing with, especially our fall upcoming shows next week.
That's right, you have one act soon, right?
Correct. Yep, you got it.
Could you give a brief synopsis of both of your one-act plays? Why you chose these plays, and how has the experience been working on them till now?
Both of these plays actually works really perfect, especially during the Halloween season as we're coming up to spooky boo kind of stuff coming up. Both shows deal with just scariness, like Wait Until Dark. It's a classic play written by Hatcher or adapted by Hatcher and was an Academy Award-winning movie back in 1966, starring Audrey Hepburn and Richard Crenna, Alan Arkin, all Academy Award-winning, Oscar-winning actors. Anyway, this particular show is based on the life of Susan Hendricks and her husband Sam, an aspiring photographer. They live in a basement apartment, New York City, 1944, right after the war. And somehow, some way, her husband Sam gets implicated or accidentally involved in diamond smuggling. And sorry for some spoilers here, but I don't want to give too much away because you need to come see the show to see how it is. It's a suspense thriller. Anyway, so various and sundry con and sketchy characters come into con to try to find these diamonds, and Susie, who is a blind woman living in this apartment, is faced with defending herself, fight or flight. She ends up fighting for herself and surviving. And so what seemingly would have been a disability, quote, quote, actually works in her favor as she learns how to level the playing field to save her life. That's all I'm giving you for that one. You got to come see it to figure it out.
A little sneak peek.
Absolutely. The second one, Blithe Spirit. It's an Acting 3 class production. It's a British farce. And for those people who are not really familiar with what a farce is, it's like over-the-top comedy. It's like slightly melodramatic. It's like if you took British highbrow Jane Austen style talking, mashed it up with Nickelodeon and Disney Channel School of Acting. Boom. That's what you got. So it's super funny, and it's got a lot of fun stuff in it. It deals with some spirits. The Condamine family, Charles Condamine and his second wife, Ruth, he is a mystery writer. And for research for his next novel, and this takes place in the 1920s, for his next novel, he wants to research the paranormal, that kind of thing. So they hire Madame Arcati to come in and perform a seance. Well, Madame Arcati's a total hack, okay? Anyway, she comes in, and they have this seance. Well, unbeknownst to her and everybody else, she actually calls forth the spirit of Charles' first wife, deceased wife, who is over the top. She's sarcastic, glamorous, a little sassy, and she can't stand his second wife. And so what happens is the comedy ensues as Elvira, her name, as she just wreaks havoc in the house and the relationships that are living inside. And so it's a hysterical show, full of fun. So again, both shows are like ideal spooky shows. Okay, they're dealing with spirits and ghosts and it's suspense, thriller, murder, all that kind of fun stuff. So it'll be a great night of theater for everybody.
Sure, it'll be fun.
Well, and the good thing about especially our fall festival is for the ticketing public out there, it's a twofer. You get two shows for the price of one ticket. So it's to everybody's advantage to come out and see it.
An incredible deal.
Yep.
For Wait Until Dark, the main character, Susan, is blind, right?
Yeah.
Right. I can't imagine that playing a blind character would be easy, especially since it's more than just closing your eyes and saying the lines. How do you intend to portray her blindness?
I'll let Bridget answer that one, since Bridget, who is playing Susan Hendricks.
It's very hard. Like, I know that's like an understatement, but watching the movie, it's she barely blinks, so it's like not blinking. And there was one point where I started wearing a blindfold during rehearsals and just doing the entire show with a blindfold on to know what it's like to like not see anything. And it's very hard, especially when you have to like, there's a big fight at the end, but I'm not going to say anything else because I don't want to spoil it.
That's right. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
Yep.
But it's like your chin up, your eyes are open. It's hard because I've been seeing my whole life. So it's hard to really know what it's like to like not move my eyes when I want to express something or not like look at someone when I'm speaking. And it's like having to unlearn a lot of things that you're used to because I've been doing a lot of film acting, and film acting is like all in the eyes. So it's kind of hard to just forget everything that I was taught and just only act with my body language. But it's really fun. I love a good challenge.
A good challenge, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For Blythe Spirit, you said it was a farce, a comedy.
Yes, correct.
Right? Mm-hmm. A lot more than Wait Until Dark.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard that this is also a student-directed play.
Yes.
Comedy is among the most difficult performances you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And when you combine that with the spiritual aspect of the play, I'd assume there's got to be some sort of challenge. How's combining this paranormal element and putting them in comedic roles been?
Okay. Well, I said Carson Brown, he was our student director of Blythe Spirit. Just talking to him, and I've totally left it to him. Like I said, it's his show. Wow. I just kind of stay in the back. And if he ever needs me, he knows where I am, back in the office or something like that. But, I'm a firm believer that most people, especially in the arts, you learn by doing. I mean, people could stand in front of a classroom or a lectern, something like that, and talk all day long of how to do something. But it's at the end of the day, it's just wah, wah, wah. You got to throw them out there and just do it. That's really the only way to learn how to do it. And I think he is learning that. And he's doing a great job. Like I said, Carson himself, I mean, he's been acting for a long time himself, and this is the first time he's actually directed. And I think anyone who ever gets into the directorial role, they realize, oh, this is not as easy as it looks. And you've got your frustrations, you've got your issues and things that go on, because as a director, you're the artist. It's just like if you were doing a painting or drawing or writing a song. You're the art. You have a vision. You have an overall vision in your head of what the story is to look like, sound like, be like, move like. And you're sitting out there in the audience, and so you give your actors directions, and you give them blocking and all that kind of thing. And then the frustration comes when, okay, if things aren't working exactly following your vision. But that's normal. That's part of the process. Creative process is frustrating. It's joyful, it's frustrating, it's a pain, it's a headache, it's joyous. It's like everything all wrapped up in one. But at the end of the day, when the final product's out there, it's worth every bit of it. And that's what you're going for. And Carson's doing a great job with that. He really is.
Wow, it's impressive. A lot of responsibility. Is anyone here working in Blythe Spirit, like the actors? How do you feel being under a student director instead of Whitley this time?
It's really different, like really different.
Yeah, the main difference really is because he's trying his best to do what he can do, and we're always like we have to remember that he's learning just as much as we are learning along the way. It's his first time directing, and like he is really doing a great job. The show is like amazing, especially considering the plan for the show that he has and the vision that he shows to us. It's always cool to know that there's an end in mind of just great vision. And it's like Whitley said, because it's never going to come out the exact way that someone imagines, but Carson has really helped us with making sure that we know what we're doing, we get things done, get along, and we have a good show at the end of the day.
Okay. For the actors in Blythe Spirit, how has performing in it been, right?
It's been pretty fun, honestly. I play Elvira, which is the ghost that like haunts them for the entire show. And I've never done anything comedy as far as like, even when it comes to films, I've never been in a comedy. It's always just dramatic. so it was really cool to get that experience and to get to be funny.
Yeah,
It's
for
really
me
fun.
as sorry, were you done?
Yeah.
For me, I played Charles, which is Elvira's husband, and the whole time, it's very fun because Charles, especially because it's a British farce, Charles is very over the top and very dramatic, and I'm slowly getting into that, and it's very fun to play a character because it's like you would never see someone go out in public and be like, "Oh, great heavens," or something like that. Like no one would do that over the top, but it's just fun to be able to kind of be a cartoon on stage.
So you do have to do a British accent for this show, then?
Yes, it is Queen's English accent.
Wow. How have you gone about learning that, like adapting?
That has always been just looking over pronunciation. Like, for example, in Queen's English, you kind of drop the T's and drop the D's. So, for example, a good example that I like to do is water. There is no, very significant T in there. It's not water. So it's just learning along the way, and honestly, I've used YouTube videos, I've used looking up what to do about it and all that, just to help.
Any resource you can find.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, I don't really know, honestly. Last year for a children's show, we did Alice in Wonderland, and I was in that, and that also involved British accents. And oh god, this sounds so cocky, but I've never really had an issue with doing one. It just kind of pops out.
Yeah, some people just accents, whether they're British, French, it doesn't matter, just seem to come naturally. And I think a lot of it has to come with the ear. They know how to hear specific things, and then therefore they can transfer it to the mouth and that kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, with Queen's English and that kind of thing, it's like Christian was saying, a lot of it is dropping the R's. There's no hard R's and that kind of thing like here in America, that kind of thing. So everything's just kind of thrown away at the end. And so you talk extremely polite, and that's what makes this show so damn funny, is because you've got silliness, and you've got Jane Eyre type of talking, and then you've got everyone walking around talking as if they've been in Britain at some manor house all their entire lives, and so that's what makes it all funny, that kind of stuff. It's very, very high energy, fast paced.
Okay. Whitley, this question is mainly for you, but if anyone else wants to, they can answer.
Sure.
You have a history of making the one-act plays a lot more mature than is expected from high school theater, right? You must be taking a risk when picking those kinds of plays, especially involving themes like addiction, mental health, and relationships. So when you pick these plays, is there a kind of force behind how you pick them, or that you know that it'll be more of a challenge for not only the people working with them, but for the audience watching them as well?
Right. Well, at the end of the day, my first and foremost obligation is to be a theater educator. And what I'm trying to, and I think there's a difference between educating and just teaching. But in this case, as an educator, I think it's when I'm choosing a selection of shows for a season, I have to look at a lot of different things. I kind of have your own formula, if you will, to have a variety of types of shows for the actor, student actors, as well as the paying ticketing public, a variety of things, because not everybody wants to tap dance and sing. Not everybody wants to do comedy. Not everybody wants to do drama. So my part of my formula when I'm trying to decide a season is I want to make sure that there's a variety of options for the student performer here at Forsyth Central and options for the paying ticketed public to see. And so when we're choosing shows and things like that, as far as the mature shows, I like a challenge. And again, I'm going to choose shows. I'll make it, and when we do our cuttings for one act, make it obviously student appropriate, but not watered down so much that there's nothing left. It's all about good storytelling. And especially for the one act, that's where you're going to pull in, some of your top actors, and I want to challenge them. I think they need to be challenged. Again, like I said, you learn by doing. And so throwing them into a very challenging role, like Bridget learning how to, what's it like to be a blind person, is the actor's challenge.
Referring to the previous question, how did you students feel when Whitley gives you these more adult and harder plays? Do you get nervous to put on roles that require a lot of emotional work, or is it more of a respect thing? because you're getting these plays that are more adult and mature. And as a teenager, it must be nice to see an adult take a chance on letting young people do more adult work.
It's definitely a mixture of both. Because on one hand, like it's a very big undertaking, and I want to do it right. But I also feel like I'm very like happy that I have a chance to play a role like I've never done any kind of role that I've put this much effort into. I have like annotations in my script. I've watched the movie like a bajillion times, and it's such a good experience to like work on a role that is this. Oh God, I don't want to say meaty, but like meaty.
Well, yeah, it is. It is meaty. it's a challenge as directing. Yeah.
Personally, I know from last year when we did our one-act Cuckoo's Nest, it dealt a lot with mental illness, and I think that the thing that makes it so like realistic is that in the professional world, it doesn't matter what show it is. If you want to be a professional actor, you're going to go out into the world and you're going to say, okay, I need a job, I have to make money. It doesn't necessarily matter what the show is, and you kind of just you get your job done at the end of the day and you put on a good show. And like for me, that's what I like, because like when we perform next week for these two one acts, it's gonna be nice because you're gonna hear the audience laugh, you're gonna hear them cry, clap, all that, and it's fun to know that you like at the end of the day the audience had a good time, you had a good time acting, and it overall was a great show.
Any final thoughts or comments that you might have?
No, I mean, thank you for having us today, and please, we want people to fill the seats next week. We would love to that, and also, give us break a leg and best wishes toward competition later on in a few weeks as we wait until dark to one-act competition.
Yeah.
Come see our show.
Yeah.
Thursday,
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday at 7, Saturday and Sunday at 2.
That's right. We'll guarantee you'll have a great time, especially this Halloween season. It's the perfect opportunity for it. Great date night out thing.
Everybody's worked really hard, and
Yeah.
we want everyone to come see our hard work.
Yeah, because
to
they are all
fruition.
ready now. They're ready for an audience. They need an audience. It's time for an audience. Need an audience. Yeah.
We heard that, everyone. Go see the one acts if you can. Thank you to the Forsyth Central Theater for talking with us today. This has been the Dawg Pound.
This podcast was brought to you by the Central Studios, show producers Jason Hanline and Nikki Melendez, show technician and show editor Nikki Melendez, show host Ian Alexander Salaponte. Special thanks to the Forsyth Central stage. All sounds come from Sounds Abounds.